the doors. I couldn't get to it.
All right, good morning. Welcome everyone to our March 19th police jury meeting. Mr. Bill, can we had a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Stevens.
Here.
Mr. Ruffin. Mr. Bison. Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Garcia.
Here.
Mr. Spovido.
Here.
Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Byrd.
Here.
Mr. President, we have 7 jurors present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can you lead us in prayer and Bird with the pledge, please?
Most kind, gracious Heavenly Father, we're most thankful for this day and for the opportunity to meet together as a jury for Sabine Parish. We ask that thy presence be with us as we discuss the items that are on the agenda this day and conduct the business of this parish, that we might do things that are pleasing in thy sight and a benefit to those who we serve. We ask a special blessing on all the government officials, federal, state, and local, that they might be guided by the gospel and the things that thou would like for us to do. We ask this most humbly in the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of the Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need to amend the agenda. Let me get this right. So we're gonna amend
24A.
24A amendment. And that, you want to read it out?
Yes. Adopt a resolution for the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant, LCDBG program, and authorize signatory authority to the president of the Sabine Parish Police Jury. We also need to do a 24B.
Right. Okay.
24B is to rescind Resolution 9696 and adopt a resolution establishing 2 utility laborers for the compactors and setting the rates of pay for a leadman and a utility laborer.
It's 24B. Okay, do we have any other amendments? Do we have any public comments on the amendments?
Yes.
On the
Not
amendment?
on the amendment.
You anxious, ain't you?
Ready. Like it.
No comments? All right, do I have a motion that we amend?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Barry, who's the second? Bird. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. What would it be, 7-2?
Yes.
All right, now do I have a motion that we adopt the agenda as amended?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Bo, second by Eric. All in favor? All opposed? All right, public comments. Any public comments on items on the agenda?
Now it's your turn, Mike. All right, fellas. First off, I want to appreciate what y'all do for the parish. I'm a member of the water board, and I saw where y'all stood up for the citizens here and shut down all the fiber line because of all the issues we were having with water lines and water board and utilities. I appreciate that. So I know this crew right here, hopefully, is in the best interest of who voted for y'all, who elected y'all. So I've been, just to give you a little update on myself. I've been in the oil field for 40 years. I'm a lifelong resident of Sabine Parish. I love this place more than anything. I got kids here, I got grandkids here. I got 2 farms, a cattle operation. I develop waterfront properties on Sabine Lake. So other than my friends and family, I got a lot invested in my livelihood. And the more I learn about this carbon capture, let me back up. About 4 months ago when it started to come up, they were gonna have a meeting in Manning. I read about this much of this whole thing, and I know it's a bad idea. They mysteriously canceled the meeting in Manning, and then it went away, you know. It seems to me like they're trying to hide things from the public. The more I have learned, and I went to the meeting Monday night down there, and I listened to some guys that've been fighting this for 2 years. And I'm gonna tell you, if you don't know what these guys are doing or how they're doing with this carbon capture, I'm gonna encourage you to go get schooled up on this. And I wrote some bullet points so I can try to stay short and to the point. So these wells they're drilling is new technology. There's never been no Class 6 wells done or ever permitted before in the state of Louisiana. So if they tell you, or whoever wants to tell you that we've done this before, they're lying to your face. The governor talking to Ted Dumas online. Governor told him, oh, we've been doing this for years. That's not necessarily a lie. It's true. They've done it out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, where if they have a leak or rupture, it gets absorbed into the water. This eminent domain, I don't know if you're aware of this. There's no eminent domain that is for private use. It's all public use, highways, the Toledo River Reservoir. They have word salad these amendments to say the stakeholders that have 75% of this are the ones who can make all the decisions. Well, guess who the 75% of the stakeholders are? The timber companies. A lot of these are foreign investors. They live up in Maine or somewhere, or Chinese investors own the timber companies. You think they care about what happens in Louisiana or Sabine Parish? The details of all these wells, and I've been drilling wells, like I said, for 40 years, and I hate to say it, the 2 companies that are involved in this is ExxonMobil and Oxy. I retired with ExxonMobil. I was an overseas operations superintendent. I have drilled wells. I'm not going to go into that, but I have a little bit of credibility of what these wells are going to do. We have always made it public knowledge if it affects the public. When you go drill a well out here, it's public knowledge. You can go see the casing depths, the cement jobs. That's what we should see. But guess what? They've turned this into trade secrets. The legislature has said that's trade secrets. So now we don't know what they're going to do on these wells. To me, that's another dark zone that they just don't want us to know, because people like me, or even engineers that drill these wells that are against this, are going to go in there and poke holes in it all day long. As far as I know, this is for y'all to learn, there's 0 tax dollars for Sabine Parish in this unless you get some kind of grant. Well, I'm going to tell you what, if you're holding out and voting yes and allowing them, you're selling your soul to the devil for a few dollars for Sabine Parish. We don't need that money. The carbon dioxide concentration that they're going to be pumping through these pipelines, through our yards and our homes, and pumping down into our water zones, okay? We're worried about the health and the betterment of our residents here. It's lethal doses. And there's cases where these pipelines have ruptured. People die. Animals die. It gets into your water zone. It corrupts your water zones. I mean, I'm not going to go into aquifers and all that, but I can tell you 40 years of being in detailed, deep water, high profile wells, there's no guarantees. We have done everything, spent millions and millions of dollars on wells that have ruptured and cracked, and whatever we pump in goes out somewhere it don't need to be. So you think Louisiana is going to be any better than that? Absolutely not. So the other night, I didn't realize that, and y'all can see I'm kind of passionate about this, because I've done a little bit of research, and I'm fixing to do more, and I'm going to make it aware to everybody I can, that we don't have a voice in Sabine Parish or the public. That's what you guys are here for. You're elected officials. So our voice cannot go to legislature and get pushed up. We can stand out here and throw riots and all that and have town hall meetings and rant and rave. But at the end of the day, fellas, you are the ones who represent us. And you're the resolution that y'all can oppose this from the Sabine Parish Police Jury. You're our voice. That can go up to legislature, that the state reps and everybody can push in so our voice can be heard through y'all. The other thing is, what's at stake here is all our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. That's y'all's too. Because when this goes bad, it's gonna be bad everywhere. Just a little highlight of what they're gonna do. They've already got pipelines proposed. We already got one test well drilled over here, I believe, Cat 5. These pipelines are gonna be under 2,000 PSI. I don't know if y'all know anything about pumping gas, oil, all that stuff. The gas and all, I'm all for it. We need to be energy independent. Those pipelines are blowed out and gas leaks, all that. This carbon dioxide and the levels they are is highly corrosive. Under 2,000 PSI, then it gets in the ground, they pump up to 5,000 PSI to inject it. Who knows where? Who's gonna tell you where it's gonna go? I can tell you, it ain't gonna stay where it wants to. It's not, if a leak happens, it's gonna be when. And God forbid it happens in your front yard or your cattle pasture somewhere where that pipeline is running through there. Because if it does, the people are gonna die. So I want you to ask yourself, when you start thinking about this resolution that y'all are gonna try to do, and hopefully I hope it's unanimous that you oppose this, what good can this do for this parish or this state or our people? And I also want to ask you this, if this pipeline or this well was in your front yard, and your kid was out there playing, or you got cows out there, would you still vote for this? Or just not vote for it? And I'm gonna tell you this, you at a point right now, and everybody that's voted for every one of y'all is gonna be watching, because it's fixing to get, this is a terrible situation, and the voters are now, and the public is just now getting aware of what's going on. And if you do absolutely nothing, or you vote against this, or you say nothing, then to me, that's a vote yes for them to come in and take chances with our livelihood. And I pray to God you make the right decision, because this, in my opinion, and what I know, there's nothing good. Nothing can come good out of this other than corporate greed. And I don't want to get into the politics of all the corporate waste and the corruption that's going on. It comes all the way down from federal, state, and local. So whoever set this bill up and this legislation that has slid it under to get to this point right here, y'all know as well as I do, it ain't good. Somebody get their pockets lined. So I just pray that you guys do the right thing. Vote on a resolution to oppose this 150%. Because if you don't, people are going to take notice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Like I say, I'm not here to wreak havoc this morning. I just want to say, the young man that did the grading of the roads in our Yellow Pine area down there, I want to commend that young man, because I haven't seen those roads graded like that since the old Pilcher family and the older men used to grade the road. But that good young man have done a fantastic job. So I stopped yesterday and I asked, I said, what is your name? He said, my name is Michael. So wherever y'all got Michael from, send him back.
Don't tell everybody that. All of them people want to get it.
Fantastic job. I just want to give him his flowers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
I hate Mr. Bison wasn't here to hear that, so. Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My
Good
name
morning.
is Steve Rawlings, and I'm with DT Midstream. And I'm here to respectfully counter this gentleman's claims about carbon sequestration. I'm not here to tell you what to do or how to vote, but I'm here to offer information. And I think if I had one request, I'd request that you hold off any type of vote or resolution regarding carbon sequestration until we have time to have information sessions, explain to the public and your constituents what this project is and what it's not. And then also, I think as we've discussed with a couple of you over the past few days, there's a lot of current activity, to this gentleman's point, in Baton Rouge, where there's going to be more legislation affecting carbon sequestration in Louisiana. And it specifically, as I see the several bills that are prepared to drop in April, a number of them deal with local parish jurisdiction, parish taxing authority regarding carbon sequestration. So in light of that, I just ask that you kind of delay or defer any commitment one way or the other until more of the facts unfold. I can tell you based on the current pathway from the LDENR, there's not been one permit issued. There's 21 companies who have pending permits to have carbon sequestration projects in Louisiana. Not one has been permitted yet, and that's the Class 6 permit. And so my point is, it's going to be a while before any permits get issued. They're claiming they'll have their first permit in the second quarter of this year. We've had our permit application in to the US EPA even before Louisiana had primacy. And we've been dealing with engineering studies and our due diligence for a number of years to get to the point where we're at. And as I was explaining yesterday to some of you, we still have a lot to unfold from the Louisiana DNR to tell us what will be the scope and scale of our permit application and our hopeful permit granting. So in that process, we do a lot of public outreach, which is forthcoming. We're going to have information sessions in the parish here to answer questions. We're a completely transparent company, so if you ask, we'll tell you what we know. If I don't know, we can get the answers from our colleagues and our engineers. I wanted to just respectfully appreciate and validate that this is, in my opinion, not been the best way for this project to roll out. And I think it happened because we have a very small project plan for Sabine to capture the CO2 from our Sabine gas processing plant. And our project's very confined, very defined. I think as I explained earlier, it's less than a half mile in overall plume diameter. And there's lots of reasons why it's a very simple and confined project. Since we've been developing and doing our engineering studies, other companies have come into Sabine Parish and have applied and have requested permits and requested characterization wells and contacted landowners and have been pretty much creating a lot of noise about their projects. They don't have the CO2, they don't have the gas processing, they don't have the pore space, they don't have the agreements with the landowners. So it's created a lot of confusion for us. What we thought was, when we applied, we were the one and only one in Sabine, and we've been in this very room several times updating you on the project status. It's very slow going. There's nothing currently right now coming out of the LDNR. So we have some time, and I guess if I'm asking for something, I'd ask for you to just defer or delay your decision until the project sponsors like ourselves and others can get in front of your community to give more information, until the DNR comes in and can give you more explanation of what this is and what it's not. And it optimally until after the legislature closes out this legislative session to address some of the community concerns on a parish level. So that'd be my request. I don't want to take up a lot of time other than I know you're considering it today. I'm here to answer questions. If you have questions, I can do it now or when the subject comes up on your agenda. And I'm happy to meet with anybody individually or later or after the fact as well.
I got a question for you.
Let's do it whenever we get to the item. We can ask me
Okay.
questions when we cover that item, if you don't mind. Good, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments on any item on the agenda? All right, moving on. All right, is anyone here from Seabog's office? Representative from Seabog's here? No. Mr. Shammerhorn's office?
No.
Mr. Bagley's office? Planning Commission? Nothing? Okay. Moving on to item 12, is accept the minutes of the previous regular meeting held February the 19th, 2025. Y'all should have copies of those minutes.
Make the motion, we accept those minutes.
We got a motion by Barry, second by Bo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So we at 8-1. Now, the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office and Manny Police Department discuss adopting an ordinance prohibiting the sales of Tom. See how I skipped on over there? And any other analog in the Sabine. Chief Woolley and Deputy Coroner Cook to address the board with that. Good morning. How you doing, sir? Educate us.
Well, I got those. And from the corner standpoint, we're all in favor of this, an ordinance concerning this kratom. It's become a national issue. Multiple parishes have already put ordinances in place to ban the sale of it in their parishes. And last night, the city council of Manny voted to ban its sale in our city limits. There's overdoses coming from it. We've actually dealt with parents and complaints of sales here locally with our children under the influence that we've dealt with. And the coroner's office certainly will back and go along from a public health standpoint, ordinance to prohibit the sale of it. And I'll defer to the sheriff's office and the city police.
I'm gonna ask the stupid question. What is this? What are we talking
You
about?
just stole my question. So kratom is a drug?
What is it actually?
This is just a fact sheet from the DEA, if you want to take it, pass it around, and kind of explains what it is.
The kratom, it's basically, it's like a pain pill, and heroin has got the same effects. They take so much of it, their high goes away, they take more of it. It's the same as opioid abuse or anything like that. The kids, it's basically a CDS, but it's legal. But it's treating the body as a
I
CDS.
got you.
Kids are taking it and overdosing.
Where do they sell
So
it
it's an
at?
appeal
They sell it
form?
at any
Like it's
vape
vape shop?
Well, convenience stores sell them too.
At least 3 convenience stores that sell them.
I believe DNR across from Family Farm sells it. Fast Track, any gas station.
So it's a appeal form.
We've been needing to get them people out of here for years.
It's peeled or powdered. People take it, put it in their drinks. They come in little shots of them. They take
Okay,
them like
okay.
that.
Look,
It's basically the same effects.
what does it do to you?
It gets you high.
Psychological there. Low doses, it's a sedative. High doses, it's like a.
The DEA compares it to a heroin or pain pills.
Unfortunately, it has not yet been regulated or scheduled by the federal government as a narcotic. But the state, due to the magnitude of what the states are dealing with it, the local municipalities are going ahead and moving forward with it. I think it was last session, they moved the sale of it, Jesse, from 18 to 21. You have to be 21 to purchase it now, but obviously that don't stop
We've had,
stores from selling.
yeah, we've had 2 documented instances where someone under 21 has just walked in, they've never asked for an ID, sometimes it's a cash sale, they just stick it under the drawer. Sometimes it's run up as miscellaneous, but they're easily selling to people under 21.
So we can't bust these ones that's selling it like out of the stores?
We have.
Okay.
When people can't get pain pills, they go to crack.
So
And
our
if you're
process
looking
would
for
be,
An easy way to get by.
Introduce an
is
ordinance
that as
by
well.
name. We need to introduce an
Once,
ordinance
there's been
today,
about
and
6
then
parishes
How do we handle it,
passed,
I'd like to make that motion.
I'm
Hang on,
sorry.
y'all, just a minute.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it's something that's being looked at. I think it would be good for the police jury to pass a resolution, an ordinance banning it. I think in the legislature this spring, we will probably see more legislation on the state level also. With this as well as the hemp, which is got the same, got THC in it, just like marijuana. They're selling that stuff left and right in our parish. You sit there and suck these little gummies down. If you get 3 of them, you just suck them down, you'd be just as high or higher as if you smoked the marijuana. It's just some more of this mess that keeps coming out. They stay ahead of the laws on it. But unfortunately, the hemp industry had a couple of legislators in their pocket down there in the last 5 years. And that's, I'm talking ahead of our crime lab in Shreveport this week. There's gonna be legislation on that. Hopefully we get rid of some of that too. The Delta 9, Delta 10, the 8, that stuff. But this kratom is bad stuff. It doesn't serve any real use and purpose.
I guess I want to ask a question, Aaron, Brad, Mr. Don.
we can't pass it today.
As a parish, this is a serious problem that has been growing for years now. How do we get rid of this? I mean, are y'all the one? I mean, I look at y'all to get rid of it, I guess is what I'm saying. But I mean, yeah, I mean, how do we? I mean, we put them in jail. They get out. They go back to doing it again. I mean, ain't there serious or more serious terms for this stuff? I mean,
All that comes from the legislature.
Let me tell you something that I was told by ATC, which was the Alcohol and Tobacco Control folks here in Louisiana. They deal with a lot of these vape shops and the stores that self-crate them. They said they find the owners, and the owners say, okay, here's your money, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I can make more money
okay,
from
okay.
selling it than paying the fines.
I understand that, but there's nothing we can do as a parish to make it harder on that person.
If you can pass an ordinance.
No,
I mean, I think we need to walk tall and carry a big
When
stick.
we pass this ordinance, that's about all we can do with it, Don.
And restrict the license.
You gonna hand me a big stick?
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. We call it fake marijuana, but it has nothing to do with marijuana.
Yeah.
Mojo. They put different chemicals in it, they change it every month, so it's not against the law again, it just keeps going. On the back of that package, it says not for human consumption. So they're telling, as long as they put that on there, they can sell it. That makes sense?
Is this any different than the vape pens that we've seen the kids with constantly? Is this the same thing? Are we, by stating it as the kratom, are we limiting ourselves? Should we be expanding this to vape pens and other?
If I may, that's a problem with this. They're coming out with stuff faster than when they legislate against it. Every time you turn around, there's some new substance, and that's one of the problems. It's like the sheriff would say, I mean, there's all kind of things out nowadays, and we, our crime lab in Shreveport's very active in testing for things. And our crime lab director, Billy Jones, is working in the legislature regularly, informing them and telling them what's happening now. And all we can do is address each substance as it comes around. And that's what this is about today. This particular substance, kratom, is to, on a parish level, to prohibit it in Sabine Parish. And I would urge you to do that. And as I said, I suspect the legislature may follow suit, in a few months, but that's no reason for us to wait. And as these things continue to synthetics, I mean, this is not a synthetic, a lot of them are synthetic substances. It's probably more than you want to know, but a side effect of Taliban taking Afghanistan back over the years because of their strict religious things. They have pretty much shut down poppy production in Afghanistan, which is where about 90% of the world's poppy came from. So that's what you make heroin out of. So worldwide, there is a serious shortage of heroin for heroin addicts. And so what you see is proliferation of synthetic drugs left and right. And a lot of it's coming from China, but at our crime lab in Shreveport, we're seeing new synthetic drugs all the time. And then this is not a synthetic, but it's the same kind of issue. So somebody's always coming up with something else to, that's some kind of mind altering substance. And we have to just take them as they come. And that's what we do it. Like I said a minute ago, the hemp, under the guise of the quote hemp industry, Schechter, that was chairman of the House Criminal Justice Committee, was able to ram all that through, and he was working with the hemp industry. And he's left the legislature now. I think he's full time. So this next session, we're gonna probably see much of that done away with, which will do away with some of these Delta 8, Delta 9 things that got kicked in, just like marijuana does. But yeah, just to narrow down this focus, I would urge you, I completely agree with the Sheriff's Department, the City Police, and the Coroner's Office that we should pass the ordinance outlaw this. And that will give us a tool for them to make arrests and come off and prosecute.
So, Mr. Don, as a citizen, I look at Aaron and Brad and you know, as in control. Everybody looks at us as a governing body, but there's absolutely not much we can do with legislature. They tell us how to do things, right?
Well, I mean, most of your felony statutes, all your felony statutes come out of Baton Rouge with our legislature. But I do think we've made a lot of headway with the legislature, the Sheriff's Association, the District Attorney's Association, and others that are concerned with law enforcement issues are working with them. And so and I think, again, I'm gonna brag, our crime lab in Shreveport that serves 29 parishes, our director, Joey Jones, is one of the foremost authorities on all this, because he is a toxicologist himself in addition to being director of our lab. He's made a name for himself already in the state of Baton Rouge. He's taught us an expert on this stuff. And so Joey's back and forth to Baton Rouge, testified. He's been down our meeting with committees the last couple of weeks. And so we're going to continue to push legislation to help some of this stuff. But this is just one that got out of here.
Don, if we pass this ordinance, and which I hope we do, how long before they change an ingredient and put it right back on the market?
Well, this particular one it comes from a plant. So this particular one won't come back on the market.
Okay.
But that's not to say something else won't.
Right.
Is that what the word analog means? So if they try to adapt it, this particular product into a different, and I think, Bo, to answer your question, they're asking us for this to put another tool in their belt to fight this. So I think everybody is for it.
I'm all in favor of that.
And we want to give them whatever they ask for to help fight this. So I totally recommend that we adopt this.
And one question, as far as the penalty, Mr. Burke, would they set the penalty on this?
Yeah,
So where that would make it?
Yeah, but we can only set misdemeanor penalties in the parish.
Whatever the maximum we can do.
No, but you know, that's still, you tell them enough.
Okay.
Well,
They sell this like you go to the vape store. I've been in there once, I think, because my youngin worked in there for a little while and I made her quit. But you go to different convenience stores and they got a cabinet over there. It's got is that what this is?
You can see that anything from just 1 ounce packages all the way up to 64 ounce packages.
Mhm.
And it's got different brand names, but it's basically all says.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to add a couple of things, just so y'all know, Washita, Union, LaSalle, or Pease, Ascension, Grant has already passed something. I got Mr. Burkett, I guess about a year and a half ago, a copy of the ordinance from LaSalle, sent to the DA's office, asking, for it to be passed. They looked at it, here we are, talking about it. I think I also sent it to Mr. Beal. One thing I think where we're looking also is, even though it hadn't been against the law on this thing, the mental health issue on it. Our guys, work every day in the parish making arrests for statutory violations, RN statutes or whatever. But when you get there on this, and you got somebody, as we call it, tweaking out or running around the floor or threatening their parents. Sometimes, if it's threats, of course, you got criminal issues, but a lot of times they need mental health. So Stanley can vouch for that.
Yes.
I would say we've seen a I don't wanna be, I hadn't got the stats with me, but probably a 300% increase in transports
Oh, yes,
of the
sir.
middles that the
Yes.
coroner's office is doing on stuff like this, that people don't even realize.
Well,
And you know where the bill lands? It lands to y'all on the transports, because y'all are statutorily responsible. When we transport someone to mental health, the police do have to pay for it. We can't, I mean, that's, the coroner's office says they go, they're the medical professionals in that area, so we can't not. And so what I'm saying is, we need some type of penalty for this, to where you can, and even though it starts out as a misdemeanor, unless the legislature gets involved, if you put enough of the, just like the dog, running at large, it's $250 a pop. And we don't mind going out writing those summonses, and eventually, it's gonna get their attention. I know Don will look at it and prosecute it, so.
But what I'm getting at, Brad, $250, if I'm making that much money off of drugs, I'll pay you
It may be- well, I think
$250.
What is it, Don, up to 500?
Yeah, it's 500 on
It'll be up to 500 on that.
So there's nothing we can do more than that, Don, is what I'm saying.
Legislature adopts something.
Yeah, the legislature can make a penalty out of it.
But I think there's a push for that. I think we'll see that coming up in this session.
And I don't know if you can do it, you may can add something about taking their business license for a period of time after certain offenses.
There's my question. I'm trying to see how serious we can make this.
Mr. Burke's question, but
Oh, ATC
You take that.
is the one that licensed those places to care of convenience stores, vape shops. That's what they do. So if we keep finding these people, every time we'll have to report it to ATC so they can have their end of it as well. So they know that these people are doing it or continuing to do it.
Sure.
I got something real short. Here's what I think it is, at the level, at Baton Rouge, for years, this is not the only one they're presented with.
Make this illegal, make this illegal.
4 or 5 years ago, people in Sabine was spraying roach killer on a screen wire, drying it with a hairdryer, knocking it off and smoking. So we can't make roach spraying illegal. Then there was gas. We can't make gas illegal. You see where I'm going with that? Glue, they sniff glue. They spray paint in a bag, spray paint and catch the alcohol or whatever it is in there, and they suck it out. We can't make spray paint illegal.
Okay, I understand that, Aaron, but what do y'all do to them people?
Well, if it's a statutory, statute violation, they go to jail. I mean,
Yeah.
But,
And we keep paying for it. There's my deal.
And we don't have a choice, because statutorily, for the coroner's office, the only way I have immunity,
Back to the resolution there, pretty.
if I get a report from someone that's from the sheriff's department or a citizen, that someone is mentally ill, a danger to themselves, a danger to others, substance abuse, hallucination, delusion, paranoia. The only way that we have immunity for us to be sued, we have to commit them for an evaluation. So that, there again, all the stuff we deal with, that these gentlemen are dealing with.
And I think that increase I'm talking about, it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily from y'all, it's because of the increase we've seen in the
Yes.
use of these substances, what we've seen in on the mental.
So all in all, we helping a little bit, but we ain't gonna stop it, huh?
I mean,
Well, if you pull it out of all the stores right now, that's helping them.
Oh, it's gonna help.
It'll
us.
make it harder, because I gotta go find it then.
Well, and let me just say this, Dr. Holber's not here because he had a training today, but he has multiple instances of people coming into the emergency room where they're being treated for basically the symptoms of an overdose. And we've had
Yeah,
Narcan,
we never know that.
a couple of people.
And we do want to go reading the windows out with that. We do.
So it affects everybody, because from
Thank
you guys to the local governments, to the parish governments, to the hospitals, they're all dealing with this.
And when I'm talking about the transports, not to get into that, we're doing probably 2 a day. maybe
So-
a day.
Oh, we know all about
That's
them.
Yeah, we know about them.
The sheriff's office is
That's
responsible.
ridiculous.
Manny commits one, so Wally, whatever, we have to.
Well-
That's all, that's.
Mental illness is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's not I deal with it all over the state with other DAs, and mental illness in this country, and a large percentage of it has to do with drugs and things that people take. I mean, long-term meth use ends up being schizophrenia. Got a huge schizophrenia problem. You just would not
Lots
believe
of time.
the depth, I mean, what Stanley's saying, what Brad's saying, what the sheriff's saying, Cheryl, exactly on the point. And Bo and what you're saying, I mean, so many times when they get a call, pretty much know from reputation or what's wrong with this person. But that doesn't mean that we find illegal drugs and we go to pick them up. I mean, you can't arrest them because they're going crazy if you can't prove, you know. But, toxicology has turned into a big thing. And thankfully, our crime lab in Shreveport is on the cutting edge of it, which is helping us prosecute it now.
And there, just so y'all know, there's about a 3-month turnaround. If my narcotics guy is making an arrest, we send it all to the lab, we're looking at what, 3 months?
3 months.
Minimum to get the report back. And before the DA can file what's called a bill, you gotta have the legal of what it was. You know, we can't assume it's marijuana even though we know it was. You have to have it legal. So, 3 months. And I mean, there's some stuff 6 months. It's because of the 29 parishes, we're small. But you look at some of these other areas that they're working, Natchitoches or whatever, they get a lot of cases, so they've only got so many people up there analyzing this stuff, So I want y'all to know it's not like TV. It's not instant, it takes 3 months or so just to get your return back.
Well, this is, thank y'all for all your information. We're going to introduce an ordinance to ban the sale of this, into boundaries of Sabine Parish. And Mr. Bill will get with Don and get all the language on the resolution, whatever we got to get, because we have to introduce it first, right?
We're introducing it now.
And then we'll vote it in next month.
I make the motion.
I done got,
Can we go ahead and vote for it without it written up? We can't?
no.
Okay.
So whatever,
Yep.
Mr. Don and Bill or whoever's involved, whatever we want in the ordinance, just I'll put it in there and then we'll bring it back next month. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. But anyway, I got a motion by Bo and a second by Barry.
Somebody.
Thank you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 8-1. And we'll have it on the agenda for next month, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
All right, item 14 is to introduce the ordinance amending the revising the parish of Sabine, a quarter percent and 1% sales and use tax ordinance effective August the 1st, 2024. Mr. Bill, you want to first?
Well, what happened is there was a change in the law and we had to, because of the digital component of the sales, and we had to amend and revise the ordinance that we passed earlier this year. It's a small change in it. We're doing the same thing here that we're doing for the Kraton. We're introducing it this month. Y'all have a copy of the draft in your information. It'll be brought up for a vote next month.
What is it? And I read everything and I still don't know what we're talking
It's
about.
just about changing. It's adding, let me see what it adds here, Barry. It's adds something about digital. Digital sales.
If you don't know, we surely don't know.
Well,
We ain't voting on it.
It's digital sales. It's added about 3 words,
Okay.
but it has to be amended so that our sales tax can be collected on those items. It's been done everywhere. The legislature changed the law.
How do we need to act on this, Bill?
This is just introduction. We'll vote on it next month.
Okay.
In the meantime, you've got the draft in your information. Y'all can read through it and see what we're talking about.
Thank you.
All right, well, we on 15? What we on?
Yeah.
15, okay. Item 15, we didn't need a vote on that, right?
No,
Just
just
introduction. All right. Item 15, declare 2 of the solid waste landfill 6-inch pumps as surplus equipment and approve sale by electronic auction, govdeals.com.
Make that motion.
Got a motion by Bo, second by Ramirez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 8-1. All right.
Are we gonna put a minimum bid on that?
I may get with Pete and see. He has more knowledge of those and And those were the two first pumps we got,
Mhm.
right?
That's
Yep.
Gilligan pump.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly
Okay.
what they were. They're
Okay.
Gilligan pumps.
All right, item 16 is declare 2019 Mower Max BH 2926, serial number MMB 18029-26 surplus and approved sale through govdeals.com.
Are we gonna have to replace this?
That's the next item.
That's our
That's
next
the
time,
next
yes.
item.
That was
Can we explain this a little bit?
It's wore out.
the Mower Max.
That's the first one we bought. We bought it 6 years ago. And every time we turn around, it's broke down, isn't it, Bob?
When it was originally purchased, it was a generation one machine, other machine they ever developed, first thing they ever built and sold. And we were one of the first customers. And we, it's been around. And, we've looked at it, we've had a lot of repairs, we've put a lot of money in it. And right now, it needs an engine rebuild. The motor that's in it, is no longer make. We have to pull it out, take it, have it built somewhere. We talked about road shop, doing this, and, we looked at the price of that in relation to what we spent in it, what we got, the issues we still have, and, we talked about, replacing it and buying a new machine.
It was also discussed, correct me if I'm wrong, is trading it in
Yes.
for the new one. But we feel we'll probably come out better by just selling it on Gov Deals than taking on a trade-in. True? Okay,
And we're gonna establish a minimum bid also.
you're right. Any other questions or comments on this item?
So what do we need?
I need a motion.
I need a motion that we advertise for bids for new.
No,
Mower,
we're
mower.
declaring
Gotta
this
sell
one.
this one first.
Okay, still on that one.
We're gonna declare it. Got a motion
Make
by
a motion that
Bison,
we sell it.
motion by
Second.
Bison, second by Byrd. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Now, item 17 is authorize advertisement of bids for new parish self-contained purpose built boom mower. So this is gonna, this is the one, the new one, right, Bobby?
Yes, sir.
During the March, y'all want me to read it or you ready to vote?
Read it.
Okay. During the March 4th, 2025 meeting, Road Shop Committee met. Road Superintendent Bobby Hughes reported that the parish is in need of a new self-contained purpose-built boom mower. He reported the current mower is wore out and needs replacement. He requested the purchase of the new boom mower. The Road Shop Committee has recommended authorizing advertising for bids for this product, for this equipment. So
How many of those do we have now? Two, counting the one that we're fixing to sell,
We have two total. This one, the one we're gonna sell, and we bought one for.
and one more.
Yeah.
423 bought one, in the last year.
This one here is going to replace the first one. Yeah.
So we'll still have to.
And they were what, 250,000?
They're right under that. They're right under that. I don't know, I don't remember the price of the first one, but the new ones are running.
I make a motion that we advertise for bids.
Got a motion by Bruce. Second.
Bison.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Whatever,
Second by Bison. All in favor?
Alright. I'm just over here choking and y'all.
He choked you up, ain't you,
Choking
son?
and y'all poking me.
All right. All right. On item 18 is to approve repairs to the parish-wide motor grader. The Road Shop Committee met March the 4th, 2025, and considered repairing a parish-wide motor grader. It is estimated that the repair cost will be around $41,000. The Road Shop Committee recommend repairing this motor grader. Any discussions?
What's wrong with it?
Transmission.
Transmission.
This is the cat, right?
Yes,
That we talked
It is
about.
cat.
It's a good machine.
We had an original estimate of, just so you know, 59,000 for a rebuild. And, we sat down with them, talked to them, we've had, we've spent some money on other repairs. We had a pretty straightforward meeting with them and we were able to get that cost down to 41,000.
This was a parish-wide grader, or it will be?
It came from landfill. They replaced theirs. We didn't want to get rid of it. It's still a usable machine. No electronics, no def, no issues. And it's what keeps us running, it's our old fallback. And so we put some money in it, where, as we do with all of our equipment, where are we at with it? What we've got in it versus what we will end up with. And we feel like that this investment, transmission rebuild, and it'll still be a usable machine. We get many years out of it. One we did for you similar, it's, couldn't ask for a better machine right now. So it'll be parish wide. So anybody's breaks, it'll be one we can use as a spare. And we also have some parish wide employees that could run it daily.
We do?
I make that motion.
Got a motion by Byrd,
Second.
second by Remedios. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 8-1. 19 is authorized advertising bid for dump truck for Ward 4, Road District 17. During the March 4th meeting, Road Shop Committee met. Mr. Hughes informed the committee that Ward 4 needs a dump truck. He reported that the current dump truck is old and no longer dependable. He requested purchase of this new truck. That's y'all, what is that? I'm gonna say, that's yours.
That's Ruffin, yeah, Ruffin.
Ruffin?
Me,
Yeah,
It's
we all
shared.
Use it.
It's a shared truck, right?
It's a shared truck.
and the one we have is an old, what model Mac?
Your model, I don't know. It's got a million 3 miles on it.
A million
That
three.
Mac just getting broke in, y'all.
Yeah.
You can purchase it.
Hey, Bo, they don't have the receipt.
Bobby, how often is this truck used?
Every day.
It's a everyday
It's
need.
the only truck
It's the only,
between me, Ruff, and Bison, and whoever. But do we have to buy a new one? At what, quarter
We're
million?
looking for direction from y'all on what to buy.
You wanna cover that about the difference between a new one and a used one? For
Yes.
whenever we get into them process, it's hard to,
It's hard
Mr.
to-
Bill can explain it to you.
I recommend buying a new one because whenever you go out for bid, it's hard to get bids that are similar. In other words, you put your specs out and you get 3 bids back. None of them are going to match your specs, and all of them are going to be a little bit different. And so you can't really pick the one you want. Where if you go with a new truck, you can spec it out and get bids that are compliant.
Who are we gonna get to bid?
Well, I imagine you'll get,
You'll get international.
you'll probably get, what's that one?
We should get KW, Kenworth of Louisiana,
Yeah.
Peterbilt, Mac,
Mhm.
and International.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know about the Western Star. Did they even
And that's
deal
not a
that?
bad deal there too.
We had a group from, was it down south that put in bids on the,
Yeah, they did.
but the spec could be available to all the
It'll go
trucks.
out.
So it'd be left up to
We put it
them.
electronically out, everybody can get it.
Okay,
See,
but Mr. Bill, when you're dealing with, don't these places sell used trucks too?
yeah, but in other words,
Why won't they spec it out the way you asked to be spec'd out then?
because they don't have it in stock.
And they're not gonna
And,
take
and
a
it's
used one
like
and change
going to Joe Blow and buying a truck,
So they won't
it won't be.
spec it out for you the way you want it on
it.
a
A
used.
new one they will, the used one they won't. They're gonna sell it what they got.
What they got.
Just $200,000 difference.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
But we also get warranty. That helps a whole bunch on these new trucks especially. That last one I bought, I got 3 years warranty on it. I'd never had that on a diesel truck. Nowadays, you're gonna get a minimum of 3 years on the drivetrain.
what's the approximate cost of this truck?
Two
I
225.
would guess 230.
How does that affect Ward 4's budget?
That's
We'll,
all.
They'll finance it
we'll
probably.
finance it.
So it'll come out yearly.
I would think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Bill's the
I've
money
already
man
got it.
here. I would think we'd probably finance it for 5 years at least, wouldn't you think?
We'll finance it for 5 years, 6%, city bank.
What you think, Ron?
We're gonna
So-
have to do it. Yeah, we're gonna,
Right,
yeah,
well,
we don't have no choice, Bruce. That
yeah,
other
yeah,
old truck.
we do have choices,
Well,
because as a group, we make choices.
You could borrow
And,
both.
and y'all,
It-
no, y'all know
but
where,
this is our money we're spending, Barry, not yours.
I'm trying to not spend your money. My thoughts are, I think all of the equipment ought to be owned by the parish. So I think the parish ought to buy this, and we ought to start that now. And we ought to start going and quit using our rock dollars that we have very minimal of, and for these equipment to be owned by the parish. That's my opinion. It's pretty slim right now, Ronnie. I probably can't help you today. I can't help you today, but this is the way I think about it. And as y'all all know, I'm always trying to save a dollar for a rock, because we need it in our district. So that's just kind of where I'm looking. And is that something I don't want to, because you need a truck, I don't want to hamper Ward 4 and what they can do. So that's just my thoughts on the subject.
You could kick us in some of your money.
I wish I had some, Ronnie.
That,
Whatever you.
that's well a good thought process, but at this point in time, we did the truck before we could get that ironed out. That's gonna be
I make a
I don't know if
motion
that'll
we
ever iron
advertise
out.
for bid.
that's up to Bill to iron that out.
Sir.
I make the
Oh, well,
motion that we
got a motion by
advertise for bid.
Bruce. A second by Bird.
And we'll sell the old truck on gov.com.
We'll make a resolution once they get the truck, and we do, because we'll do it then, surplus it at that time. All right, I got a motion by Bruce, a second by Bird, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. How many days was your bid? 45 days?
No, 30.
30? Okay. Well, we'll know something within 30. Okay. You gonna get with Bill and y'all get, or whoever, get your specs set out? Okay. Okay. All right, on item 20, let me make sure I'm getting close. All right. Item 20 is gonna consider hiring a temporary employee to fill the master mechanic position during his absence. So you want to cover that, Mr. Hughes, about these guys may have questions on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alex just handed me that. I think what we're gonna do, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill.
This is the mechanic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
This is
I'm the wrong-
I can't say the name, but you know,
Yeah,
our
okay, so
position.
We've got an employee that is going out for surgery. So we do this all the time. We have someone leaving that we authorize, need to be out 4 to 6 months. And then we authorize to hire somebody temporary until they return. So we're looking for that authorization, should we find the right person, to hire up to $20 an hour, depending on the qualifications. It'll be a mechanic. It'll be a mechanic for our shop. Kind of hard to go without, losing a mechanic and not having a replacement.
Well, I say we find one because we don't want to lose the one that's out for surgery. My opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to find somebody to take his place right now while he's out.
Yeah,
Because
and he's going out April. I forget the exact date, mid-April, early mid-April.
And I spoke with Mr. Hughes about it, and I've been looking around, and if y'all know anyone that may fit this temporary spot, get with Mr. Hughes, because I'll say this, those mechanics down there, they work their tails off. They are steadily working on equipment, and without, -1, the other mechanic, he'll be ready to quit before it's over with, because it'd be too much workload on him. So we need to try to, if y'all have any ideas of anyone that can help us out on
We
this.
don't have anybody in mind.
Right, and so,
28.
yes, sir, Bill, go ahead and read our resolution.
Whereas the master mechanic working at the road department is expected not to be available to work for an extended period of time due to surgery, and whereas the road department desires to maintain a fully staffed mechanic crew while the master mechanic is off duty, now therefore be it resolved, the road superintendent Bob Hughes is hereby authorized to hire a temporary master mechanic to fill the temporary vacancy. And be it further resolved, the temporary master mechanic will be hired at a rate of pay not to exceed $28 per hour. Be it further resolved, the temporary master mechanic will not participate in step plan or other employee benefits normally offered to full-time employees. And be it further resolved, the temporary master mechanic's employment will terminate upon the return of the regular employee to work.
And this item was discussed in our road shop committee meeting, and road shop committee meeting made a motion to made a recommendation for the board to consider this temporary deal.
I make a motion, we advertise for the temporary employee to fill this position.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Bison, second by Bo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 21. That's
the one we're gonna table, I believe.
21.
Mhm.
All right. Item 21 is discuss a rate of pay for utility labor for compactor site maintenance. Do I need to read this out?
No, just, we're gonna table it.
All right. I need a motion.
Make a
Table
motion, we
this.
table this.
Got a motion by Bison,
Second.
second by Bruce.
Why are we tabling it?
We're gonna
I don't
table it
know.
later.
We're gonna cover it in the next.
We're gonna cover it when? Today or no?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, it's in a different,
It's gonna be 21B, 24B.
Okay.
Oh,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
They had to go back and do some
I'm good.
corrections.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a motion by Bison, a second by Bruce. All in favor on this item?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, now we're on, okay, that don't come to 24. I didn't want to pass it up. Okay, 22 is a call of public hearing for the 2026-2027 Louisiana Community Development Block Grant. The Sabine Parish Police Jury will hold a public hearing at 10 o'clock on April 2nd, 2025 in the Sabine Parish Courthouse, 400 South Capitol Street, Manny, Louisiana. The purpose of the meeting is to obtain views on the housing and community development needs of the parish and to discuss the submission of an application for funding under the state of Louisiana for years 2026 and 2027. Community Development Block Grant Program. They notice proving more information will be published at the parish official journal, the Sabine Index, March 26, 2025. This is something we do basically every year. We have to read.
Yes, I know we did a block grant. Can we go ahead and have a vote on that just because?
Okay. I need a motion on this public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Eric,
Second.
second by Bison. All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
All righty. 23, adopt a resolution authorizing the president to execute on behalf and in the name of Sabine Parish a contract for Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Administrative Services. So this is where we use
This is going down the same road.
We CDC.
CDC. We do this every year, correct?
Correct.
You need to read this out?
No, I don't know.
I make a motion, we adopt that resolution.
Second.
Got a motion by Bison. A second by, who was the second? Ramirez. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 8-1. Now we on
24.
24. Okay, adopt a resolution authorizing the president to execute on behalf and in the name of Parish Police Jury a contract for the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Engineering Services.
Make a motion, we adopt that resolution.
Second.
Got a motion by Bison, second by, was that Bird? All in favor? All opposed? Order resolutions. 24A, adopt a resolution for the Louisiana Community Development Block Grant Program and authorizing the president of Sabine Parish Police Jury. You want to read this resolution? Or basically the same thing, ain't it?
Yeah, it's just, whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury authorizes the application of the LCBDG funding and designates signatory authority for official signed documents to the parish president, Ricky Sepulveda. Now therefore be it resolved that the parish president has full signatory authority on behalf of Sabine Parish to fulfill all requirements and to submit the LCDBG application.
So this,
That gives you the authority to
So
submit
this-
the application and sign it. And sign any other document.
so this group here will be our, the ones that's doing this, the associates,
Yeah, they do it all the time. We pay $6,000 a year. For
at
this.
Baylor, they talk about.
Oh, for Baylor, the engineers?
Yeah, the engineers.
Yes, they're gonna be doing it. I've talked to, I forget his name, but I've already talked to Baylor.
Okay. And on this grants here, Miss Bill Alley, we're just gonna submit the same roads and stuff that we have before. Okay. So on this one, I need a motion on this one.
Right.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Eric,
Second.
second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, we have 24B.
Before I leave this topic, what was the deal on last year? Did they put ours in a different category, or did we get approved on our block grant roads, or what happened on that deal?
Last year, I think it went through resubmission, December. Pearson is how we work with the CDC, and he informed us that when they sent the application for May, that we didn't get chosen for funding, they resubmit and for December fiscal year, and again, we haven't heard back. But
Okay. But we still,
it's still in the
oh,
process.
got it, okay. Thank you, Ally, for keeping me straight on all that. Mr. Bill, you too. Item 24. B. So on 24B, we need to rescind resolution 9696. You want to read that resolution out?
Don't have a resolution. We need to do one. What's
We're
going
going
on?
to talk about the one you got to rescind.
No, we don't need to read
Okay.
that back out. It's already been approved. We're just rescinding it. And
Okay.
then what we need to do is to reconstruct the resolution so that we have a lead employee that's going to help Barry on the compactor station maintenance, and we'll have a regular laborer. The lead man will get $16 an hour, and the laborer will get $14 an hour.
Whereas of now, they're both getting 15. So it's the same dollars.
Same money. We budgeted that this year. These are new positions that you all approved for this year. At the time, we needed a placeholder. That's what we thought we were gonna do, but things have changed, and we're moving people around from within. So this is to accommodate our move, and it's the same money, no change, just.
What action's needed on it, Bill?
Need a motion?
We need a motion to rescind this one first, right?
We can do it all in one.
Okay.
Rescind and then.
I'll make it to
I'd like
rescind.
to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
We all do. Mr. Ruffin, I spoke with Mr. Ruffin, who will be absent. Mr. Ruffin wanted to make it clear to you all and to the public that he is 100% in support of this. He's absent today, but he wanted that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hughes, for reminding me about that. Okay, so who made the motion? Eric makes the motion.
I'll second.
Let me write it on here. Eric, second by, who was that, Bird? All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries 8-1. All right, thank you guys for that. So we're moving on. Okay. Consider the resolution in opposition of carbon capturing facility being located within Sabine Parish, Louisiana. Mr. Barry, you want to address that? This has been a very hot topic, I know, for the last couple months for me anyway. Mr. Barry, whoever the table's y'all, whatever you want to discuss.
Yeah, thank you. And as a group, we've been trying to educate ourselves on this. We were hit with it pretty recently, past few months. We've gotten a good bit of information, and I think we're fairly educated on it. Mr. Steve's group did come talk to us, and I will say that they're the best group we've talked to yet. They're very concise in what they're doing. I just don't know about the engineering and the science of this project. When he talks about tabling and waiting, we cannot. We have to let the legislature know our opinion. They go into session on the 14th. Allowing them to pass legislation without knowing how we feel as a parish about it is just an error on our part. They have to have our opinion before they go in there and start voting. As he says, waiting, this has been going on, their group, since 2020. We heard about it 3 months ago. They've had legislated passed, eminent domain where they can take over and control it themselves, passed by our legislature with no input from us. Trade secrets. Everything they do, they could say it's a trade secret. We don't have to have the information. Again, passed by our legislation, no input from us. We weren't aware of it. So this has been going on. I feel like we're taking all the risk in this. It's all on us with very little to show for it.
And there is risk.
I believe there is, yes.
I've talked to too many old men about it. There's risk with this, y'all. I mean, and my question to you earlier, can you inform everybody on the deal that happened in Mississippi or Africa or Illinois?
I can talk a little bit about the Mississippi incident. That seems to be pretty popular around here.
We have an audience. I want to be able to hear you.
You bet. So, in our evaluation, Mississippi was preventable. It had to do with their standard protocols and their emergency responses, along with an older design of a CO2 pipeline that did not take into account enough inline valves or measures that would mitigate a risk if there was a rupture to the pipeline. All those things together created what we heard about very publicly in Mississippi. Pipelines today, the CO2 pipelines that are in use today, there's about 4,000 of them, the ones being built now. They have inline valves and much more engineering prowess regarding the building and placement of those valves. And what I mean by that is they do studies to determine if they have an impact in this section of the pipe, what is the best placement for inline valves upstream and downstream of that specific location to limit the amount of CO2 that is emitted to atmosphere or that could become a risk to any public. So the result is, in short, and I'm thumbnailing this a little bit because it's a longer explanation, but when they do these studies and they place the inline valves that are automatic, if you do end up with an incident on a pipeline, like let's say a slip, or a contractor hit, or obviously something unexpected, these inline valves can immediately shut the upstream and downstream to limit any dangerous impact to the surrounding or the environment. So that's a big difference from then to now. The other thing I'll say is there's plenty of CO2 pipelines. If you're familiar at all with enhanced oil recovery, it uses CO2, compressed CO2, to inject back into the formation to produce more oil and gas. So it's not new. It's not any more risky than that is. And we're all very comfortable as an industry and as a community to safely use that technology. So that's all I'm saying is there's a safe way to address it. And our plan is to do it using the best practices possible and engineer in the instances that I just talked about.
How does our parish benefit from this?
Wait a second, I'm just
All right.
re-commenting, I want to catch before he
Sure.
changes subjects. Then why is there a new class 6 well classification? Because if it was just like what we've been doing, the classification of wells,
That's
a
a good
class 2
question.
well or something else would be used. So this is
So-
something different. It's not the same thing that's been going on.
That is a good distinction, and that has to do with the authority to inject into the ground for the purpose of sequestration. The federal government, in its wisdom, said, if you want to inject for pure sequestration, you got to get a special permit, class 6. If you want to inject for enhanced oil recovery, if you want to inject for other injection means like disposal wells or other injections, they have class 2, class 3, class 4. So they completely carved out, you want to do that same thing, and for the purpose of sequestering, you have to have a class 6 application. And the class 6 is the highest and most evaluated injection well permit because they study the science of the geology and the long-term effects of the chemical consistencies and the interactions downhole. So you're exactly correct. Unless you're doing carbon sequestration where you're going to sequester it there forever, you would not need a class 6 permit. If you're doing injection for CO2 enhanced oil recovery, you need a different class of injection permit, which is not a class 6. And class 6 is the one that Louisiana just received its state primacy, meaning it used to be controlled and regulated and permitted and authored by the federal government, the EPA. Louisiana last year, actually several years ago, applied for the right to do it themselves instead of having the federal government say where and when. Louisiana was, I think, the second state in the nation to do it, second or third. There's 3 or 4 more in the queue that have asked for the same thing.
I've talked to many soil and water conservationists, they're telling me bad things. And y'all are saying good things. Tell me why they would tell me that versus what you're saying.
Well, I don't know specifically what they're saying, but I can tell you, I want to validate, first of all, constituent concerns and community concerns are valid. When people don't know, or you don't have the answers, or the company men are not doing a good job of getting the answers out, or meeting with the elected officials, this is exactly what happens. And we put a call into that company that'll remain nameless yesterday saying, you guys need to do your job and get down there and inform these guys of what you are and what you're not. Because when that happens, with the whole industry, the whole concept, and the whole process looks bad. And it's no different than any other well drillers. It's no different than any other E&P firms. You got some good ones and you got some bad ones. And some are better about dealing with community concerns and validating them and being responsive, and others are bad. So I can't speak to their projects. I can't even tell you what they're doing or what they're not doing. I can only tell you what we are doing and what we're not doing. We're nowhere near the lake at all. In fact, Paul can tell you exactly, and I have a map here I can pull up on my thing, but just give them an idea where the characterization well is.
The characterization well is out east of Lorraine off of 118. Bo knows where that is. I think you've been down to.
Yes, sir.
So, and the characterization, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Our characterization well was just a test well to confirm what they saw on the seismograph. They just drilled a hole, took core samples to determine the cap layer over it and the injection layer down below that.
That's correct.
And the well is gonna be between, our injection point is somewhere between 7,500 to 9,000 feet.
That's correct.
Will the injection well be at the same location?
Generally, yes. It's, so the purpose of the characterization well, as Paul said, is to drill down and actually confirm what you believe is true in terms of the geology. You pull out a core sample of the actual rock so the geologist can look at it and test it and say, yes, this is exactly what we're expecting. Cap rock, porous rock, non-porous rock, whatever the case may be, you confirm your engineering and your assessments. We did that with the characterization well to confirm that that geology is what our engineers are expecting it to be. So in our case, and I alluded to this earlier, we have a pretty small project compared to the other 21 companies, 20 some odd companies in the state of Louisiana who are applying for Class 6 carbon sequestration projects. As I said, our project is going to take the CO2 gas that's emitted to atmosphere currently at the Sabine processing plant. We're going to capture it.
How?
We capture it off the emission.
With what?
Well, it's a gas. We capture it by compressing it into not supercritical, but we compress it to a high degree. We dehydrate it. We put it in a CO2 pipeline, and then we pipe it a short distance to very near the characterization well, where there will be another well drilled to do the injection. That well then is monitored and is permitted to inject a certain amount of tons per year at a certain pressure. And we're required to drill several monitoring wells around to monitor, again, what we know is happening in the formation. The monitoring wells confirm that. The depth of the well, as Paul said, is going to be around the 8,000 foot mark. It's well below the existing Austin chalk in that area. Gets pinched out a little bit in Sabine Parish. So in that area, the Austin chalk is above us. It's well below and sealed by order of magnitude away from any freshwater sources. And the other point I was going to make is because we're capturing just from Sabine Parish and we have this CO2 that's being emitted to atmosphere because we're cleaning the Haynesville gas. We're coming down to this injection well. It's very small. We're going to permit it for 1.2 million tons per year. But initially, when we start, it's going to be about 400,000 tons per year injected. That equates to about a half a mile radius in the pore space beneath. Yes, sir.
This brings up a question that nobody's talked about today. I had occasion last year, a friend out in Florine that brought me a lease they had been asked to sign. You know, oil and gas leases have been around forever in Louisiana, and I don't call myself an oil and gas attorney, but in my time I have done one, and I've looked at one. And attorneys are used to seeing the standard clauses and some deviations, pew clauses, such, you know. So we know what an oil and gas lease looks like. We know, and of course, I think y'all are all favor, realize too, that when you drill a well, depending on what it is, you know, they, conservation department sets up units, which means, you know, in the old days when a lot of our wells were, well, the real old days, they were set on no units or 20 or 40 acres. In recent years, most of them have been on a section, so mile by mile. With some of the newer Haynesville, that the laterals have gotten so long, their unitization is even more. So I look at this lease. It's been several months. I don't know all the details. But some of the things that jumped out at me, this particular landowner was, it says you're going to be paid X dollars per ton. And my first comment to this person was, there's nothing in here that says anything about how many tons are going to be projected. And you were just talking about how many tons initially. And so I said, I have no idea how much money that equates in royalties that you're going to receive. I think the base lease was like maybe $500 an acre, which, you know, in the old days, 500 was a lot of money. When Haynesville came in, it wasn't. But she was asked to sign a lease for $500 an acre. She was going to get paid X per ton. There was nothing in there that talked about whether it was going to be unitized. I mean, how wide area it was going to be spread out. So who was she going to be sharing those royalties with? You know, how does it, because you punch the hole in one place, but it spreads within that unit. Another thing that concerned me, it appeared to me that the lease limited ever drilling through that zone for something deeper. And so if you leased your surface, you pretty much preclude yourself from ever having an oil and gas lease in any zones below that.
So I can't, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And that gave me some concerns. And when you were talking again about how much per ton you were gonna pay, I mean, I'm assuming that the zone down there that you're gonna inject it in, that there's a finite amount of space in that zone. And so you're not just gonna be pumping X amount per year for the life of this pipeline. So there's gonna have to be, at some point, I'll assume that particular zone is quote full, and you cap it off, and you may have to go do something somewhere else. I'm not sure. The point I'm making is all these questions from the landowners. And I told this person, I'm not aware of any attorney at this point in Louisiana. It's been several months ago, maybe some people have come after work since then, but I didn't know. I said, you know, basically an oil and gas attorney would have more general knowledge about it, but specific knowledge about these leases and what should be in them. And it also pretty much, and some oil and gas leases are the same way, but it pretty much precluded your use of the surface. They could do anything with the surface, put up any facilities, do anything they wanted from now on. And so I understand that there's a significant amount of acreage in Sabine Parish that is already under lease. And I hope, and if it was, look, I'm 100% for the timber industry. I'm not knocking them when I say this, but I would assume the timber industry is sophisticated enough that they had some attorneys and people look at it and decide, is this something that's going to cause us problems down the road? It's just, you know, the average Joe 5 to 10 acres or something in Sabine Parish. Maybe their finances aren't so great, and they offer them $500 an acre, and they jump on it without realizing what they've done. And so I have some serious concerns about that. And Bill and I and Allie have had discussions about what does this generate for the parish, because the natural gas is basically, I don't know if y'all are aware, but all these pipelines have been being built in the last 4 or 5 years. These are all intrastate, meaning they don't cross state lines, and they have less federal regulation. They're all coming from the Haynesville Shale to take Haynesville Shale gas down to LNG plants on the coast. And all that's good and fine. We're all for that. That's a great thing. It's generated a lot of revenue and what have you. But, and I have, your company has a great reputation. I understand you employ a lot of people in our parish. You pay a lot of property taxes in your pipelines and your processing plants. hats off, we appreciate everything you do for our poor parish. We really do, and I don't mean that sarcastically, it's truthfully.
Thank you.
But if you're gonna treat this gas, take all these impurities such as dioxide, you're gonna take the hydrogen sulfide, you're already doing this, taking hydrogen sulfide, moisture, what have you, out of it at this plant, north of Manning. Then you're gonna run a pipeline from there to southeast of Florine out in the, where mine and Bo's ancestors were all from, out in Century area or somewhere out in that way.
They're close to Mount Carmel.
And Mount Carmel, and so I don't know how long that pipeline is profiled, it's not too far across there, I guess. But, and I don't know, what's gonna be the size of this pipeline, what's the diameter?
I can't tell you that. I don't have that information.
Okay.
I can get it, but
But anyway, so I guess what I'm just saying is, the thing that concerns me about anything, and Mike kind of alluded to this earlier, you know, I'm not against it, and I'm not for it today. I just don't know enough about so many factors to have a hard and fast opinion. I have concerns about the landowners, and again, my good friend Hootie here is with the timber industry, and they're my friends, but they're big boys, they can take care of themselves, for the most part. And so their timberlands and all, you know, I'm not, you know, they look after themselves. It's the average, mom and pop with a few acres in Sabine Parish, or even a home site that concerns me a little bit about if they lease it, what have they done to themselves? And so I worry about those people. Like some of y'all, the rest of you, I'm not a petroleum engineer. I spent 6 years every summer cooking rough decking to get through undergraduate law school. I don't even drill 2 wells in Sabine Parish in my time, so I'm not completely ignorant about oil and gas. And I realize you're gonna drill through water sands and what have you. You're gonna do cement jobs. And all cement jobs are not created equal. So that to say that it could never contaminate a water stand or something, it's not necessarily true, because things do happen. But again, I'm pro oil and gas, and I'm not trying to be a fly in the ointment of this. It just seems to me that, you know, when you're trying to take positions on something, you just don't know everything there is to know about it. I've always tried to pride myself on not taking positions until I understood the issue, and then could make at least a semi-intelligent decision.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Well,
So that's-
it's fair, but it's,
I'm not
they've
suggesting
already-
you should be against it today either, Brad. I didn't mean it that way.
no, I understand where you're coming from, but if we do nothing and don't take a position, the legislature is gonna eat us alive, just like they've done for the past 4 years.
I'm not saying
And
you
we
should.
want them to have our my opinion, I'm talking for myself. These guys all have their own opinions, and they will get to vote. They will get to vote as they see right. And I will respect the way they vote. But I have to voice my opinion right now, or else our legislatures who are in Baton Rouge, they don't know our opinion. Right now, the last 4 years, they hadn't asked our opinion about it, and they're passing laws that affect us every day. So if we don't say something, we can sit here and be quiet and sit on our hands and do absolutely nothing. And in 4 years, the CO2 is going to be everywhere, and it might be a great thing. Look, I don't know either. I'm with you, Don. I don't know. I really.
Can they communicate? Say something happens, can they come back up and get in the water tank?
No.
Hold on.
Okay.
In the neighboring parish, they were fracking a Haynesville well. They had a bunch of little shallow oil wells there. They all got flares on them now, burning the gas off. The ground was bubbling around.
So I can tell you two things there, and then I'd just like a minute to clear something up you said, that I think I can answer for you very easily. Not everything, but with your question, the part of the permit process requires us to do scans of potential abandoned and or orphaned wells dating back to wherever in our area of influence. And we do that in a number of ways. You do it through records, and before there were records, there were still wells. So we have technology that we do flyover, and we do satellite imagery to determine where, if any, abandoned and or orphaned wells are. We're required to map that out, just in the interest of being ultra cautious. Secondarily to that, the Haynesville formation is completely isolated and different from where we're going to be storing this
It's
CO2.
below.
Right. This is below and sealed by hundreds and hundreds of feet of cap rock that are proven to have no fractures and is in a safe, contained area. So there's those two levels of redundancy, and then finally, the wellbore sophistication is such that they not only have to do chemical processes against the metallurgy that's required in the well for given whatever you're capturing and injecting, but it's pressure monitored. So the instant that there is any breach, if there was a pressure change, the well can be shut and contained and sealed off from everything else. So there's a number of level of redundancy that would prevent any communication with any other formation, with any other valuable resource above or below, which gets me to, you've probably heard people talk about, well, what about stranded minerals? You put a carbon sequestration site in Sabine Parish, what if that landowner, Mrs. Jones, wants to later explore some oil and gas resource that we don't know about now, or don't think we know about, or it's unavailable? The answer is really easy. There are no stranded minerals for a couple of reasons. Number one, if there were minerals above, beside, below, you're still free to go process and produce those. The Louisiana law allows for the cohabitation and the cooperation of both oil and gas minerals and pore space ownership. So neither one can do anything to the other that would encumber their resource. So
The
if
lease says also prohibited drilling through.
so, well,
I'm not saying
I
that's your
can't,
company's lease,
yeah,
but-
I can't respond to anybody else's lease, and I don't know which lease or landowner. I will tell you, we have plus 90% of our landowners in required pore space. People are happy and they're glad for it because they don't have the Haynesville gas resources. So their otherwise non-valuable pore space that's going to do them nothing is now a revenue generating item for them in their land. And so property owners are like, this is fine. I don't get that. I can get this. It's valuable, and we're blessed to have it in Sabine Parish. And I wanted to follow up with one other item, which is, so this is all made possible by a federal tax credit. So companies like ours, we have to send money to the federal government every year for the money we make on our Sabine processing plant and our pipelines and gathering systems that we do work for Expand and everybody else. We have to send federal tax dollars into Washington, D.C., just like all of you and me. This program offers you the opportunity to not send the equivalent of so many dollars per ton if you figure out and develop a carbon sequestration facility. The federal government, whether it's wise or not wise, has decided they would rather have the CO2 that we're currently emitting to atmosphere, they'd rather have it in the ground sequestered right back where it came from. After all, this is where it came from. It came from the ground when we produced the oil and gas
How's
resource.
oil and gas going to drill through your reservoir of carbon and it not get out?
So they don't need to go through. They can go over, around, beside, under. With today's drilling technology, it's not required to be in our area. in our pore space.
How big is your site that this would be, it will accomplish your storage area? How many
Half a mile.
What's the dimension?
Well, it's something that is, it's not a perfect circle or a perfect race, but it's roughly a half mile in radius at 400,000 tons per year. We're gonna permit it, or we want to permit it, to do up to 1.2 million tons per year, which would make it about a mile in radius roughly.
But each year you'd have to have another mile.
Sorry?
So then every year you're gonna.
That's
expand it?
it's not, no. So the amount of CO2 that we're emitting right now out of the Sabine plant, we can comfortably capture, the engineers say, 400,000 tons. And that's what we're gonna shoot for. If for some reason our customers start sending more to that Sabine plant to process more, we could conceivably go up to 1.2 million.
As a price in your leases, what per acre is that gonna pay a landowner?
For the pore space, I can't answer that. I can get you an answer, but I don't do the leasing. What I do know is that, two questions. So I think you asked, somebody asked, did you just lease with a big timber company and then everybody else has to go along? And the answer is no. We do have a timber company, but the lion's share of our leases are small Sabine property owners. We have about 90% of them signed up, and we're currently working right now to complete our right-of-way that would be required for the CO2 pipeline.
You have 90% of who? Landowners?
Of the pore space owners.
Yeah, that would be the landowners where this.
In most cases, but
Yeah.
not always.
Right.
In most cases, but not always. Yes. Yep.
So, and I do appreciate y'all's meeting. The past few times we've met, it's been very informational. I've learned a lot. Still don't quite get it, but I learned a lot. And correct me if I'm wrong, the life of this is somewhere around 12 years.
So if we get the green light, if we get a permit and the permission to do this, we're gonna run it for at least 12 years. That's what our financial model takes it out to.
And
it has a life much longer than that.
in my notes, you correct me if I'm wrong, in my notes said that y'all would have to monitor this for 50 years after it's actually filled.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, Mike's going to say
And,
something.
and I will also say this, when the compressed CO2 travels down the pipeline and gets injected into the formation, and I'm not a geologist, but we can bring one in here to tell you, Katie, the one you met with, is a geologist. In a given amount of years, I don't know if it's 12, 15, 20, but that does not stay a gas in the formation. It actually solidifies and becomes rock or a mineral. So it's not as if there will always be a pressured formation or pressured gas. Over time, Mother Nature solidifies that, and it's solidified in the porous rock that you injected it in.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
At 5,000 PSI, our ground moves. You've tested this and there's no porous areas, it's solid rock. What if it moves and cracks? How have you got that contained when it's down there?
Well, so we're required to monitor with great specificity the pressure, injection pressure, and we have a range of what we're allowed to inject. The permit would spell that out. So if you have pressure, just like when you're drilling a well, if you have a pressure lapse or a pressure anomaly, the injection stops. And that's when you rely on your monitoring wells and other things to determine if you have any type of downhole issue that needs to be remedied. Now, that said, we're talking about solid rock, and that's part of the characterization process and the geology studies that go on for years in advance of not only the seismic, but the characterization well, is that they don't want to be in a place that has tendencies or fractures or any anomalies that might contribute to.
How do you heal a fracture?
You avoid the fractures to begin with. That's what I'm saying. You don't choose pore
You
space.
and you
And
said
that's
if
why
y'all have it, if y'all monitor it, so if y'all have one, how do you heal it?
I can't answer that. I'd have to defer that one to the geologist, other than to say,
You can't put
that's why
cement in there.
that's why Sabine Parish is so valuable for this pore space, because there are no characteristics that point to that type of geology that would cause problems that Bo's talking about.
If you have a fracture and it surfaces, what do you do?
So if it surfaces, it vents to atmosphere.
It's like they're doing now. Vent.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Correct.
how do you know where that fracture is gonna be? Is it gonna be under his house or his house?
So the thing is, at 8,000 feet, if you have any type of pressure event, the path of least resistance is the route that things go, which is right back up the wellbore and emitted to atmosphere as a gas, like it is now.
I would say that this company as a whole, the worst thing they've done is they've been working on this project for 5 years. So they said yesterday, getting all their stuff in order. They have not been verbal. They've not come in, had the town meetings, and got the parish as a whole. We got a group right here. They're pretty smart because they're listening to all this, but the majority hadn't heard the good and the bad. They've heard the bad more than the good. These guys can sell you a good song, but it's all, Don, oil field. It's good and it's bad. Is it proven they're not going to have a problem? No. Look at the Deepwater Horizon. They had the best technology in the world. Catastrophe. It could happen. They seem like they have done all their legwork. They seem like they have found a great zone. They do know what they're doing. They're putting safeguards in that wasn't in Mississippi with these fail-safe valves, say every mile or every 2 miles on that pipeline to shut it down. I'm basically going to vote with the jury because that's what I think we need to do as a whole is be solid. But do I think their problem, what they're wanting to do is not going to inherently hurt us? I don't think. They have really studied this long and hard. And anytime you drill a well, you have the potential to have a problem. Just like Randy was talking about in Coshada, that was a ignorant problem, but it's affected a bunch of stuff. It could do that here. But day in and day out, if it vents, and it vents a little, you won't know it, and I won't know it because we're breathing it right now. And then pine trees that eat it up down there, and there's a whole heap of them down in that country. Like I said, I'm going to be with the group. That's what we need to do is be solid. But their big problem, and I've told y'all, and y'all need to get out and talk some more to some people and have some town hall meetings and tell the people what you're doing and how safe you think it is.
Yes, you pointed that out to me yesterday as well, and I can commit to this. We're happy to do that. We will do that. I explained the type of informational sessions that we like to have, open houses. We can invite the neighbors, invite the public. They can talk to the experts. They can ask. We are a transparent company. There's no trade secrets. You know what we know. Your questions are valuable to us because if we can't answer your questions, if we can't validate your concerns, then we're missing something. So right now, we feel like we can answer, if anybody's willing to listen, all of your questions. And we need to do a better job for the community. We focused on elected officials and we focused on other key stakeholders, legislators, and what I'm hearing loud and clear from folks here today, and I totally respect that, and we'll commit to coming in whenever you want, and we can do it a couple of times if you'd like. it would be helpful if you would delay taking any kind of action until we have an opportunity to do that. And until, like I said, we figure out what other legislation is coming our way. And I feel like you do have a voice with the legislators if you want. And, you know, you can tell them what you want without passing a resolution that would dissuade companies like mine and others from continuing to invest in making it happen, because you do have a very rare and valuable resource in Sabine. No, it's not the Haynesville per se, but you've got something that's going to extend the life of the Haynesville and make Haynesville much more valuable. And so I just encourage you to at least maybe take some time, 60, 90 days, and let things open up. And I'll commit to you, we'll do some informational meetings and invite the public. And
Mike,
So-
you have
Well,
something, you have
I'll,
something else, Mike?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Yes,
Mike.
sir. I got several things, okay. What company do you work for, sir?
DT Midstream.
DT Midstream.
Yes.
And where do you live personally?
Well, right now I live in Detroit.
Michigan?
Yes.
So that's nowhere in Sabine Parish. Okay, that was obvious whenever you stated these wells are nowhere near Toledo Bend Lake. But let me tell you, everywhere in Sabine Parish is near Toledo Bend Lake. There's so much revenue that comes from people that come to this lake to live, to retire, and there's a lot of money coming in. And I already, as a land developer, and my ears to the ground in my area, they're already questioning, should I come in here and buy a property and build a house? Because all this nonsense is coming up. Sorry, pardon me. To allude to what he's saying, let me ask you another question. Have you ever drilled a well?
Yes.
Where? What's your drilling experience?
So I've been in the oil and gas industry since 1993, and I've worked in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Louisiana, Michigan, and I've done a little bit of work in California.
Okay.
So
Well,
I've
you
been
had-
around, yes.
I've been around myself, and I've worked in every country in the world. I worked in California, I worked in Texas, I worked in Colorado, and I worked on super deep, ultra deep, high profile wells for Exxon Mobil. You talk about your company is better than this other company you're talking about. I don't even know who it is. I worked my whole career with Exxon Mobil as a driller. I drilled the most expensive well in Russia, the most expensive well that's ever been drilled in the world. I coordinated that job, and I can tell you, Exxon Mobil is the cream of the crop when it comes up to drilling companies on all phases from my 40 years in it. And we still have failures every single day, no matter how much engineering, no matter how much geologic information is given to us. When he says we've been doing this enhanced oil recovery, that's absolutely true. They take the byproducts of the well. I'll put it to you in redneck terms. That TV is the oil zone surrounded by geologic formation we don't leak. We drill into it, put a hole in it. It's under pressure when we drill into it. As we start pumping the oil out of it, the pressure goes down. So what do we do? We come over to the side and drill an injection well. We put that stuff right back in that well to lift and put more pressure in it so we can get the oil out, okay? So what do we do when all the oil's gone? We shut it down. We don't just keep pumping, okay? The second thing I want y'all to think about, if you take, I don't care how your stratigraphic rocks, your properties, your zones go, you got to go through every single water aquifer we've got to get down where he's talking about.
That's right.
Okay? You take a piece of casing. Well, first you drill a hole. Have you ever been to this? You take a piece of metal pipe, which is casing. You go down to the zone of interest. You cement it. I've done some of the most expensive, critical cement jobs in this world, and they have still failed. So when they're telling you they're going to go in there and pressure up to 5,000 or whatever in this zone that is geographically shut off from everything, stratigraph will show you. He's talking about the chalk is pinching out, formations pinch out. Between these formations, there's leak zones. I've encountered it for years. So when they come in here and they tell you that they're going to come in, they've got it all figured out, and they're using these buzzwords to say enhanced oil recovery. We've done it for years and years. It's the same thing. It is not the same thing. Ronnie, you're talking about if it leaks the surface, The trees is gonna love it. Man, that sounds like a lawyer word that all these guys are telling you that you wanna hear because the public don't know.
These guys haven't told me that.
No, but I'm
That's
just
that's
saying,
just
it's
happening
out
right
there.
now.
It's
They're
out there.
releasing it right now.
Not at these concentrations. These
Exactly.
concentrations are like cyanide. You're gonna put it out in there.
I
You're
know.
gonna leak
So
out,
much
you're
of it.
standing there, your family's standing there, you're gonna die. It takes the oxygen out of it. It's corrosive. So I'm imploring you guys, go educate yourself and don't listen to some smooth talking, somebody that don't live in Sabine Parish. Because where's this money coming from? It's grant money, it's tax credits, right? Where's your company getting the money to do all this? And why are they wanting to do this? Isn't it a green energy something from the government?
No.
Our tax dollars?
No, and I'm not gonna argue with you, and I understand you're passionate about it, and you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to the facts. And the fact is that we're here because we invested in the Haynesville to produce and help produce this resource, and we have to pay federal tax on that. And we found a way, our engineers have found a way to stop sending money to the federal government and reinvest it back in here. We think that at about $21 per ton is gonna stay in the state and local revenue streams and economic value streams as a result of this being able to do that. At 400,000 tons a year, that's about $8.2 million that DT Midstream is not sending to the federal government as a tax bill, but we're investing back into Sabine and Louisiana.
At the expense of our livelihood if you have a
There's
fault.
no,
I'm
there's.
just gonna leave this, because we can argue this all day long. I'm against it 150%. We don't need that $8 million in Sabine Parish. We'll keep getting people to come in here, spend our monies, create jobs, other than having this, and having this poison put in our system and exposing our families to this, guys. I'm 100% against it. And education, I mean, these guys have been answering these questions for years. They've got all the slick buzzwords. Follow the money, and who's gonna pay for it? You got one chance. One chance. If this fails, somebody's gonna die. It's gonna be on everybody's conscience again.
Ronnie had a good point just a minute ago about we need to be a whole, but the people we represent, those people right there, they who put us in these chairs right here. And I've had meetings in my area. I know how my people feel about this. It blows my mind that 90% of the people in my area have signed with y'all. Blows my mind. Because the people that I have heard some of them sign was at my meeting the other night. So, you know, y'all can't imagine over the last month, 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm still on the phone over this. That people are scared to death. Why are you just now wanting to come hold your meetings and inform us? Why are you just now wanting us to hold off on this when we have session going on in about 10 days, 13 days from now? That we have to make a decision. We got to make one today. So I say we move on with this.
And I'll anybody else got any comment before I'll say this. As each one of us sitting here today, we may have our own opinions about it, our own views, but in the end, this is his district, and it's his district where it's going to take place. And I've got to support what I may have my own views, but it's whatever his people did, because that's the people that he represents. You know, I'm on the north end, you know, I'm on the fracking end up there, that end of it. But if I know you had your town meetings, Barry, you've met with some folks out your way. And if your constituents are gave you their views and they're against it, I've got to support y'all. That's my duty. You know, so.
And I will have a big piece of it going down by Fisher and all
Yeah.
through there. And like I said, I'm going to be with my jury. I think about the jury a lot, and I do know that we represent the people. And I've had a lot of people say they don't want it. But it's like I told you, the biggest problem is they come in here telling me, you know, I don't want it because it's going to do this or it's going to do that. And most of that's because they are not educated, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm saying accidents could happen. Yeah, they could have a problem, but that don't mean they're gonna. It does not mean it could sit down there dormant for the rest of our lives. Of course, I'm pretty old. That ain't killing everybody here. Anyway,
But
I'd say
you know,
just get on with the resolution, whatever we're gonna do.
Whatever.
Talk about it enough.
What about anybody else got anything to say before we cover this item? All right. We have something drawn up on that or?
Mr. President, I was kind of just waiting for the consensus of the jury to get an idea of what needs to go into the resolution itself, but there is something.
Okay.
I'm gonna read that aloud.
Okay. Mr. Bill, you want to do the honors for us?
Sure. Whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury has been informed of the future development of a carbon dioxide sequestration site in Sabine Parish, and whereas the police jury has determined that sufficient research has not been conducted on carbon sequestration to relieve constituents and their concerns regarding public safety. And whereas the police jury has the governmental purpose to ensure the safety and welfare of the citizens of Sabine Parish. And whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury concludes that it is not in support of a carbon dioxide sequestration site being placed in Sabine Parish. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sabine Parish Police Jury adopts a resolution in opposition to a carbon capture facility for carbon dioxide sequestration being located within Sabine Parish, Louisiana.
I'll make that motion.
So, the only thing,
Motion.
instead of site, I wish we change it to plural, sites.
Site.
Yes, we're not specifically picking on one site.
Okay, who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Who seconded that? Bruce? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I would also like to make a motion that this resolution gets out to our governor, all of our representatives, state senators, many people as we can get it out to, so they are aware and can't deny that they knew our opinion on this. So
You want us to email everybody a copy?
at least
Okay, we'll see if we can get this out today.
that would be awesome. And what I think this does is this tells the legislature, if y'all want to sell this to us, you better do a better job.
Back to your reps and your senators. All right.
And governor.
I'm governor. Right. All right. Item 26, authorize the payment of approved bills.
Make that motion.
Motion by Bo,
Second.
second by, was it Eric? All in favor? All opposed? All right. Item 27, appropriate transfer sales tax for March operation, $500,000.
Make that motion.
Motion by Bo, second by Remitas. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, moving on, committee reports.
We didn't vote on that, did we?
All in favor? All opposed? All right. I didn't figure you had no problem with that. Committee reports. Let me find my committee reports. Bo, you got anything on your committee reports?
No, DJ called the other day. I think you were all right though, right? Some stuff up in the courtroom up there,
Windows?
the windows and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we get prices on the
We getting
windows?
prices on the windows and all.
Up in the courtroom,
They're,
judge requested that, we replace those windows up there. They have a lot of air that pours through and leaks. It has a lot of issue with the condensation up there in the hot summertime.
after we all went up
And
there
they
and
old.
painted the seals and everything,
Yeah.
they're sweating and pulling in
Yeah.
moisture.
When do
and
you have a
the new
meeting?
paint
When do y'all
job.
have a meeting?
Huh?
When do you have that courthouse meeting?
We don't ever have a meeting. We did one day. All of us left here and went up.
Yeah, well, you was with us today. We went up
Yeah.
and done the
And
tour.
we seen all that
I
bad
don't know if
stuff.
I missed a meeting.
No.
But
no.
And to clear it, to follow up on this, we had applied for a grant some years back, and we still have money in that grant, and the grant was for courthouse improvement, so it's gonna be filed under that, right, Bill, correct?
We better
So
have
Bill,
we better have a bunch of money.
no, it wasn't that bad.
The windows though, I'm talking about, they're not gonna be.
No, it wasn't that
No,
bad.
they wasn't bad.
They weren't
They
bad
wasn't
at all.
bad. Fits in our grant money anyway.
DJ had reached out to 3 different companies and got 3 different prices on them, and they, we went with the lowest one.
2 companies was pretty good pricey, but one of them was really not really
And
good.
so and that was just for the back. I'm gonna call it the back half, the big room and the grand jury room. And then once we get those done, we'll go back and look at the grant and see what kind of funds we have left, and then be talking about maybe just coming on around with them. There'll be insulated windows with the UV protect and all that. Something more efficient, I guess you say. DJ, he has a job trying to keep this floor at a temperature and keep that floor at a temperature whenever you're pulling air out of the outside, bringing it into the courtroom. And that's why a lot of those ducts were condensating. So he's pulling that hot air in there and mixing with the cold air. So, but anyway, that was one of those deals. And like I said, it's been on the books that we applied for that grant, and the funds were available. So.
Nothing under personnel. I hadn't had anybody come to me fussing. Yet.
We discussed committees, pug mill. Where we at on the pug mill? It shows in here, we discussed it, but you want to update the guys where we at?
We're kind of at standstill right now. We've got some electrical repairs to make. We had an incident there where one of the landfill employees backed over our electrical panel. It was installed. We've got to have that redone. Waiting on some dry weather to finish the dirt work. Waiting on some creosote boards to come in to build the head wall on our ramp up our hoppers. I checked through last Tuesday.
I'm
It's
gonna
got a 3-week delivery on that. After that, it'll take us 3 days to finish the carpet work on it. And we'll get dry weather. Pete can have his crew do the dirt work. We're gonna meet one day, maybe today, this week, and go today or one day this week, go look at our access road. So just really weather.
When you want to come to Mary and look the first road we're gonna do.
It's already. Well, it'll probably be later.
Okay, all right, we'll get together later on that.
Any other reports? I'm gonna brief y'all on this. I have copies of this if y'all want to look at the details of it. But I can't brag enough about Mr. Barry Goss on the job he does on these compactor stations. I mean, this right here is everything. He got it down to the ounce and to the penny. But I had a discussion with him a few months ago, and he got me a comparison from 2023 to 2024. And just to brief y'all, in 2024, the open count is down 122, with the weight down 66.96 tons. This indicates that the open tops are being loaded heavier, and that as a whole, the sites are using the compactors more compacted, and we get more out of our compactors. And I mean, like I said, I got all this here, and both compactor count and the actual weight haul for compactors was up for 2024 over 2023. Indicates that most sites better utilizes the compactors over the open tops. Compactor ratio indicates that the compactor ratio increased from 25.4% to 28.2%. 0% indicating improvement in our operator selections. So, but anyway, if y'all want any of that, like I said, I just want to commend him on a great job he does for us.
I just want to add to that because I saw the same report and
Yeah.
the amount of detail is phenomenal. He does a really good job on this. And by this information, he can tell which yards are not compacting correctly. And then he has discussion with them and corrects it. So he is doing a really good job. Besides keeping them up running, he also makes sure they're very efficient. So I want to congratulate him also for a job well done.
He does a great
Bobby,
job.
you got him some help working with him now, hadn't you?
Y'all made that.
That was what it wasn't said in there where it was directed to, but I thought it was.
I'd like to say something. When I came here about 10 years ago, we were paying $36,000 a month for hauling and dumping from the compactors. Last month's bill, because of Barry's actions and his work, was $21,000. That's what he's saving us a month.
Yeah, and then how much is the hauling went up?
It's going up.
So it's way more than what
3%
it
a
sounds
year.
like.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, he is so, he could tell you those compactor boxes are numbered. We started that process years ago. He could tell you everywhere that box has been since he been logging them in, how much weight was in them, and it just
It's
he
impressive.
does a great
It's
job.
impressive. That
And
report
the
is
sites
impressive.
are so much better and cleaner than they used to be.
All right, guys,
I'm hearing y'all say that
go ahead.
Because I work with Barry. I appreciate y'all all saying that.
Y'all just
Not,
don't
not
tell me.
enough that we can say about the man, and all those of us that know him know that. I work with him every day, and I sat down the other day and he went through that report. I know what he does. I know what he does all day, every day. And I was blown away. I mean, just the level of detail. Barry not only can tell you, Barry can tell you who was working by looking at his.
Oh yeah.
And he does that for himself because he will go out there and he's going to scold somebody. He's going to get on somebody. What he thinks they ought to be doing and compacting to the level that pleases him.
Right.
And in that, I'm sure y'all have a copy. I don't know if we'll provide it to you. I bet it was. Barry has put together his own, I'm going to call it a newsletter.
Right.
Barry put together his own little newsletter that he distributes to his employees.
Right.
And the purpose of it is to encourage them to do better. He gives them awards for who compacted the most. Every little thing to make us better.
And that's not counting the thousands of dollars that he saves us by working on these machines himself. You know.
Initiative he's taken to learn.
Right.
And this is a 70-year-old man that gets off work for us and goes and helps a guy cut trees and clean up.
Right. And a guy that gets off at a certain time, but he's here an hour after that, just because he's still working. He doesn't charge.
He's a 1 in a million.
All right, yeah, anything else under committees? All right, let's go to operations. Mr. Hughes, you got anything on operations?
Other than you all have your reports you get every day, or every month, your
Okay.
permit and citation list.
Can you give us a rough time frame on the pug mill?
I can't, because a lot of it's weather. A lot of it is weather and the road. We still got to get the scales. There's still some work to do.
Have we ordered scales or priced them bills?
No, we're gonna talk about it when we talk about our roads hopefully today.
Yeah, as soon as we get out of here, we'll go look at that. You're welcome. At the landfill there. All right.
I just want to state that I'm going to ask Bobby every day if we made all sand yet until I get a yes answer. I told him that yesterday. I'm going to call him every day because I'm like Ronnie. I don't want to hear it's undetermined. I want to hear it's pretty dry. I rode out of my road today and it was sprinkling and my road was still pretty dry. So he keeps saying it's wet. We'll put some all sand on the ground and spread it around and it'll dry up. I'm with you. Let's start making it and let's put it on the ground. I want to see some on the ground. I don't care where we put it.
All right.
Make a motion with adjourn.
Got a motion by Bo.
Second.
Thank y'all for your waste tire pickup the other day. I took advantage of that and it was sure nice to be able to take some tires in. tonight, do anything else with it.
Good, thanks. Thank you. Bobby, yeah, Bobby and his crew down there do a good job on that. Do you have an estimate how many tires y'all pull?
600 plus. Almost
600 plus.
Credit Ashley. Ashley carries the weight on that, and she kind of makes it her own. I just didn't let her do it. 'Cause it's-
That's 600 tires. We ain't got to worry about being thrown in the woods somewhere.
I like it.
I've got a motion by Bo, a second by Bruce. All in favor? All opposed?
Maybe we.
All right, guys, thank y'all.
I'm gonna tell you what, dude, I want some.
That's about a mile.
Here.
Go all the way to
What was that first name?
Oh, no.
Oh,